3 trail cameras, 3 weeks in an atmospheric river on Harstine Island in a Bigfoot hotspot in Washington State. What are the memory cards going to show us? Coming up next on Encounters USA. Hello everyone and welcome to Encounters USA. If you're new to the channel, we do aliens, we do Bigfoot, and we do dogmen. Now if you have not seen the show, or if you haven't been watching for a while, then the first thing you want to do is subscribe and like this video and ring that bell so you'll get notifications as we post. We post research, we post field observations, we do podcasts, we do product reviews for you Bigfoot researchers, and basically we do it all. So hit that like and subscribe button, and now let's talk about what happened with 3 trail cameras for 3 weeks in an atmospheric river on Harstine Island. Okay. Now, the first thing I want to talk to you about is my methodology. My intention was to establish some kind of a relationship with Bigfoot based on the fact that I've actually heard their vocalizations on Harstine Island. I don't want to talk because I want you to hear that. But so I've been doing my call blasting and kind of in an answer to every time they yell, and you hear that? And based on the fact that there had been a number of BFRO reportings there, and based on the fact that I was there with my friend Rich Germeau, and in a site very near this vicinity, he had actual Bigfoot contact. Based on that, my methodology was to try to make contact with these beings and establish some kind of a relationship. So, how to do that? Well, I start off with peanut butter and apples. Now, if you've seen any of my documentaries like ESETI Ranch, the Bigfoot UFO connection, then you'll know that I use peanut butter and apples to establish a relationship with whoever's in the vicinity. So what I do is I go in, I do Bigfoot call blasting, and then I leave Bigfoot goodies in the area in the hopes that they will come and partake of the goodies and show up on my trail camera. So I did this also in my latest documentary, Missing 911, Olympic National Park, The Staircase Trail, where I'm very sure, based on the research that I did for that movie, that there was some kind of Bigfoot creature or creatures involved. So, based on all that, I went to Harstine Island and I left out these 3 trail cameras and peanut butter and apples in the vicinity. All right, so we're going to start backwards here actually. We're going to start with trail camera 3, which was put out last. Now let me explain that by the time I got to putting out trail camera 3, the batteries in all of my drone, My cameras, my gimbals, everything was just drained. I had no way to record actually putting this camera up. So since I have no way to show you just when I put the camera up, where I put it up, etc., here's me actually picking it up so you can see the area, and you can also see the peanut butter jar and what happened to it before we actually look at the trail camera footage. All right, so here is the site of our second camera, and look at that. Somebody has gotten in and licked our Jif creamy style peanut butter clean. And remember, we put a lid on it, but not tight, so they were able to get the lid off. How did they do that? And then here is our trail camera. So what's that going to tell us? Oh, exciting, isn't it? Well, we're going to find out when we check that memory card. Stay tuned. Okay, now what can we learn from the footage that we've seen from trail camera 3? Well, there wasn't a lot to look at on the footage, but we did see what looked to be like a rat, right? But what did we not see? We did not see anybody remove the apples, and we did not see anybody knock that peanut butter jar down. And remember that when I put that peanut butter jar there, I unscrewed the lid, so you had to do just a tiny bit of a turn to be able to get that lid off. But the lid was off, and that jar was licked clean. So, as I said, I didn't have anything to show you when I put it in, but this is the actual jar. And as you can see, it was completely licked clean, and somebody was able to unscrew the lid. Pretty interesting, huh? All right, now let's go over to the site G, as I like to call it, or the G spot, and let's take a look at trail camera number 2. So trail camera number 2 was faced in a northerly direction, and as you're going to see from the pictures that it took, not a lot of action going on. It was triggered mostly by a couple of deer, and these deer will also show up on trail camera number 1. So here is some of the footage from that camera. It's not too exciting, but maybe you'll see something in it that I didn't see, but this is trail camera 2. All right, and now let's move on to trail camera 1. Now I'm just going to very quickly show you how I placed that trail camera there, and the placement of the trail camera and the peanut butter as well, because I want you to understand that that trail camera was facing the peanut butter, and then this happens. So we're moving across the swamp, and I was afraid it would be all the way up to the trail camera, but at least the water would be, but no, it's not, it's there. So let's go look for my other one, and let me see. I see the strap, and it's there. Success. But what is hiding in the memory card of that trail camera? We have to wonder. And what about our Bigfoot goodies? Oh my goodness. What's this? What is this? These are bones. They left some bones here. I wonder what kind of bones they are. This is what happened. These are the bones that I found at the site, and I'm going to just very quickly take a look at them, because what people told me was you want to look for teeth marks from predators. And so here's the bone, and right away you can see this bone is absolutely clean. Absolutely clean. I believe these are two femurs. Not a medical expert, but both of these are absolutely clean. There's one striation there, and other than that, these bones would have not, I mean, these would be gnawed, but as you can see, they're absolutely clean. So there's that, and this is one of the joints, and as you can see, it was not taken, it was not torn apart. And I believe that the marrow was left in these. I believe the marrow was left in these purposefully, but I don't know. So those are the bones, and now let's get on to what was actually on the trail camera. All right, now the first thing that I want you to see is that the date that this trail camera was set out was December 2nd. And so the activity that we're going to see happened relatively quickly once the trail camera was set out. So there's a couple of things that I want to bring to your attention. And the first one is the fact that the goodies have been placed. The goodies are there. The apples are visible. And then by the 5th, with nothing, just like the other trail camera, nothing triggered the trail camera, but the peanut butter and the apples were gone, and the peanut butter had been moved. and there's nothing in the picture to show you what triggered that. So that is very interesting, that there was nothing to trigger what made the peanut butter disappear. So on this trail camera, you can see that the peanut butter is there up until the date of the 5th. And after the date of the 5th, the trail camera is absolutely gone. So there's nothing that triggers the trail camera. The peanut butter is absolutely gone, and there's nothing that you can see that triggered the trail camera to make that peanut butter go away. There's still an apple there, and I just want to point out a couple of things to you. That the peanut butter is now gone. We have no idea who took it, where it went, because it was not there at the site when I went to pick the cameras up. The other thing is that a few days later, we see that there is this raccoon climbs the tree and actually knocks out the apple that's remaining. So the question is, if that raccoon triggered the camera when he climbed up to get the last apple, why didn't the camera get triggered when the peanut butter was taken and the other apple? All right, so there's one thing. The next thing is, this raccoon climbed up the tree, and you might say, well, he got the other apple and peanut butter, and he just decided, well, he's finished with those. He's just going to come back for more. And what we're seeing is that he's just getting the last thing that he didn't get before. Now, all I have to say about that is, would a raccoon leave? And I don't know if you know anything about raccoons, but I do. I've chased them out on my tents before. So I don't think a raccoon would take one apple and the jar of peanut butter and leave one apple up there. I just don't think that's going to happen. And to prove that, I'm going to show you the same raccoon coming back a few days later just to see if there's anything left there. But it did come back. It came back to see if by any chance there'd been anything left there. So I don't think that a raccoon took the jar of peanut butter. I don't think the raccoon took that first apple. I think whoever took them left one and didn't show up on the camera when they were taking it. Now, the last thing that I want, and remember on trail camera 3, which was at the BFRO site, we also didn't have anybody showing up on the camera to trigger it when they knocked the peanut butter off of the branch. All right, so we don't have any perpetrator for taking the peanut butter, for knocking down the apple that was with it. We only have a raccoon on camera. Now, there's one more thing I want you to take a look at, and this happened, this was sometime later. The apple being gone, the peanut butter being gone, happened within 2 or 3 days. I believe 2 days. But a little bit later on, during a violent atmospheric river, I got this footage. So try to explain to me what this is. And somebody on Facebook told me if you slow this down to 25%, you can actually see what's flying around in the video. So have a look. Now, that wasn't the only episode of this that I recorded. I recorded one later on, and it was pretty much just as dramatic. And the only thing that I have to say about all of this weird footage from the Atmospheric River is how, people have chimed in, and this has had thousands of views, and people have said, well, it's just moss, it's just dried out stuff from the ground or whatever. Well, that would be completely legitimate, except that it's been raining for weeks by this time. It's been raining for weeks. Everything is soaked, and there would be no way for something to be just flying around, especially flying up. And as you see in this last video, there's actually stuff flying in formation as it flies by the trail camera. So these are the results of the trail camera. I'm going to let you just have one more look at the last trail camera, just at the footage I took, just so that maybe you'll see something that I didn't see, and you can point that out in the comment section. All right then, well, that's the trail camera results. If somebody wants to weigh in on these bones, please do so in the description and in the comments, and let me know what you think. Why are there no teeth marks on these? And did somebody strip the meat off these with their hands? That's the question I'd like to hear somebody answer. So just remember, if you're out using trail cameras anywhere, looking for Bigfoot, aliens, or Dogman, and you find some mysterious bones, you don't want it to be yours. So watch your back.